So this was super cool. BuzzFeed actually featured the tweet and my viral TikTok video discussing deathbed confessions, and they asked people to send in some of the craziest confessions that they heard. Also had a lot of questions of people asking, how do you see the stitched videos? If you just type in Stitch and my username, I believe, on TikTok, you can find the people that have stitched it and shared their own stories. There are quite a few though, be warned. I haven't even gotten through all of them yet, but there's a lot out there. Let's get to the ones featured on BuzzFeed. My mom had a patient who was terminal and confessed to killing his twin brother in Vietnam so he could blame the death on the war, steal his identity, and then return to the United States to be with his brother's wife. The wife had passed away years earlier, and the patient's children blamed the confession on dementia until after his passing. But, as it turns out, the patient's daughter ended up finding a handwritten confession from decades ago stuffed in an old Bible. I had a patient who was an 86-year-old woman who put a bunch of crosses around the room. I had to ask her to take them down due to the inability to create the care she needed. She insisted they all stay up because it was one cross for each soul she took. If that's true, she took 14 souls. When my grandpa was dying, he confessed to my mom that her younger brother was not his biological son. My grandma had passed away years earlier and had gone to her grave with the secret. My grandparents were not together and lived separately, but during that time it would have been scandalous to have a child by another man. My grandfather raised my uncle like he was his own son, and none of the kids or anyone suspected he had a different dad. It wasn't until later when my mom told my uncle and he didn't care. Basically, no one in our family knows. Even I found out by accident. This one's crazy. My grandmother was born in Cuba, and when she came to the United States, she would cash her Social Security checks and keep them in a pot under her bed. When she died, we decided to go through every inch of her apartment to see if we could find the money she would hide. My uncle told us that the final week she was in the hospital, she kept telling him to check in the oven but gave no context as to why. Well, when my mom and I opened the oven door, we found a trash bag taped under one of the racks. We opened it and found 2 Tupperware containers with a total of $12,000 in them. Wouldn't that be nice?